on the air on YouTube. Okay, looks like we're on YouTube. And then...
Yeah, and get on...
All right, and now I've just got to... Let me start the recording here, and then we can go.
Welcome to Photography Chat with Merlin. Photography Chat with Merlin.
Welcome to another episode of the Photography Chat. We have Mario with us from sunny San Diego.
San Diego, north of San Diego, Oceanside to be specific.
San Diego always makes me think of Anchorman when Will Ferrell is like, the whale's penis.
It is one of the number one Halloween costumes. I'm down here.
Yeah.
That Anchorman.
I can see that. Like, does anyone do the milk version of Anchorman, though? When he's like walking on the street, it's like, milk was a terrible idea.
I am sure somebody does.
My favorite
in there.
My favorite part of that movie, though, was when Jack Black fucking kicked his dog off of the bridge.
Oh yeah.
When he's like, "All right, this is happening now," and just picks up his dog and just like fucking turfs him right across right over the edge.
I haven't seen that movie in quite a while. Hold on, my phone is blowing up.
Oh, no worries, man.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, so we're still in season 3, episode 42, and we've got Mario with us. And you want to take a moment to let the folks know a little bit about you?
Yeah, I am Mario Machon. I am currently from Oceanside. I feel like I've been around from most places in Southern California by now. I don't really know how to describe myself because I kind of reinvent myself a lot. We'll probably talk a little bit about that, but I'm currently making cameras for myself and sharing them with everyone, I guess. Is the best way to describe it. Because I just won't make any camera. I'll make something that I want for myself. And then,
so
share
far,
the files, share the love.
So far, what's been your favorite camera that you've made?
I wasn't ready for that question. That's like, which one of your kids is your favorite?
I mean, we can get into that too, because like every parent has a favorite. They say they don't have favorites, but like they totally do.
They totally do. I would say after Policon, the big wide is man. It's I've been pretty happy with the results so far. I think the only thing that would make me like really love it more than anything else in the world, obviously, is not too possible. Maybe, but like if you could collapse. I could just do like, and then just pop out a big wide, or like the lightsaber kind, just like,
dude,
and I got the big wide ready deployed.
If you can make a bellows version of the big wide,
yeah, I mean, well, most people kind of do that already, right? Like, they set up their 210s and they kind of do that portrait type. It's just a matter of fixing it in place, I guess.
Abala is bringing a conversation piece from the last episode where we decided that the big wide, as far as cameras go, totally fucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, porn star, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you don't make shirts, I'm gonna make shirts to say like this camera fucks.
If anybody doesn't know.
Yeah. Do you want to take a moment to introduce the big wide to everybody?
Yeah, of course, since I've got it out here. So for those of you that don't know, most people probably know, but there was a camera called the Big Shot that Andy Warhol is the most famous for using. He's the most famous guy that used that camera for a lot of his art. So it's a pretty legendary camera. And there's people mod it all the time. There's lots of people out there that will mod one for you to take Instax. They'll put an Instax wide camera on the back of it. But yeah, I wanted to do a little bit different and basically have that same type of portrait style fixed focus camera where like when you look through it and you aim it, like you have to move back and forth to like focus. And then inside of the viewfinder, there's like a double image that you have to kind of line up. That was called the Big Shot, is called the Big Shot Shuffle. So the challenge was making a camera that can be totally 3D printed for all the folks out there that don't want to pick up like cutting tools or soldering irons or just cut through a bunch of plastic or even measure it, because you got to do a lot of measuring along the way too. So that's kind of what brought the Big Light about. Was originally supposed to be just like, here's my homage to the Big Shot. Here's free files. Everyone, make your own, sell them if you want to. But I guess there's a lot of demand. Everyone wants one now, I guess.
I totally want one.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting some 210 lenses on the way, so we'll have to go through them and see which one you want to pair up. I know you were looking for one, but I decided to just start stocking up on them. Yeah, just in case, I mean, it's like the thing about cameras these days is some of these mods is like, since there's maybe certain lenses are only like on eBay, like 5 at a time, 10 at a time. So it's not like you need overwhelming demand to just shoot the prices up. Like you just need like 5 people at a time looking for the same lens, and then the prices just kind of climb. So I don't know if that'll happen with this one. I know that I did put a list out there of the lenses that are favored, that I favor, and my watch list lens just started like selling. I'm like, damn, I didn't grab that one when I should have.
Oh shit!
But hopefully it's for this. I don't know if it is, but I'm always looking at lenses.
I can't see the instant wide or the 20 like 210 being a popular lens otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, was it some kind of standard lens? I think that focal length.
Yeah, I think it was pretty.
You'll find a lot of the Fujis, but some of the other ones that I'm favoring, like the smaller ones, something kind of that's like low profile like that. Yeah, those are the ones that are kind of a little bit more difficult to find. But you'll find the Fuji ones all day long, but they've just got this huge element on it, and then the rear element still goes into the camera a bit more.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's actually the lens that I originally started designing for. I have one that I'm going to auction off pretty soon with that Fuji, because it is the cheapest of the 210s, just about. But I don't know if Forrest is on, but Forrest Burke, Forrest, right?
Yeah, I know Forrest.
Yeah, he recommended he suggested like a handle, so we added the Forrest Burke handle version. That it'll add the handle right here, so you can kind of support the front heavy lens a little bit better.
That's pretty spiffy.
Yeah, it was a good call on that, because I wouldn't have thought of that. I was just dreading having to carry it around and just waiting for that moment where you just like bump into something and whop, out goes the lens flying. But I guess that would happen with any camera where you've got a huge large format lens on the front and you're carrying it around.
That is true, yeah. Well, I mean, now that you've answered which is your favorite camera, it's only fair to ask which is your favorite child.
My favorite child would have to be Andrew. Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. I hate the rest of them. He's my only child.
Oh, well, that makes it easy.
He's my only child, so I could get away with that. Yeah,
my little
college too.
Yeah, I remember.
You feel old.
You're not old. You're like what, 25?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not?
I've been 33 for the last X amount of years. I'm gonna be 33 for the next 10 years probably.
I think like if I could pick any age to sort of like chill at, I think 35. I would go back to 35.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Any particular reason why 35?
It's kind of
what was Mervin's life like at 35?
I started living again at 35. It was just like after my ex-wife and I had like separated, and there was a lot of fucked up things that happened at 35, but a lot of really good things that happened at 35. And yeah, it was like an okay year.
I know lots of people out there are like, man, 35. Like for me, it would be 25.
No, at 25.
I don't know what it would be for me specifically though.
What would it be for you?
I don't know. I think maybe the last 20 years, 15 years or so, I've kind of enjoyed something about every year. It'd be hard to say, because I want to say that I'd love to go back to my mid to late 20s, but then I did a lot of cool shit in my late 30s. And then all the camera stuff, mid to early 30s, and all the camera stuff happened, late 30s. So.
No, but you're 33, so it's like,
do
it's
I
all
like my, oh yeah, that's right, I'm 33.
Yeah, exactly.
So in my time machine, when I went to see my future, I saw that age range being one of my favorites. But yeah, hard to say, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go back to my 20s because, like, I was an absolute douchebag in my 20s. And so it's just like,
man,
I don't want to relive it, and I don't want to see that person ever again. Like, I'm glad I've grown up past that. And all the cool shit I've done in my life has been since 35.
I kind of don't want to remember just in case I was a douchebag in my 20s.
That's fair.
That's why I don't mind, the herb taking the memories away, because it's like, all right, I'm starting to forget things, which is cool. I'm living more in the moment now, so.
The moment is all we have at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
My memory has been so terrible.
It doesn't get better from here, dude.
No, it doesn't. I mean, like, age isn't on my side, and then I was in a car accident a couple of years ago that also, like, fucked my brain up. And so, it's like right before the chat, I needed to go eat some food because I forgot to eat today. And so a friend of mine who uses my studio, he came along with me to this burrito joint up the street. And it's like a vegetarian burrito joint, but it's really good. Excuse me. And I saw they had tortilla soup, and I was like, fuck, I had some really good tortilla soup on my trip. I'm going to get tortilla soup tonight instead of a burrito. And then I was like, where the fuck did I have that tortilla soup? And I couldn't remember where I had it. It was on my trip somewhere, and it was really amazing. I remember how tender the chicken was and like how good it tasted. But I'm like, where the fuck did I eat that?
Man, so I don't even want to ask you if you remember what your favorite tacos were in Denton.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if I've ever told you all of our mission. I mean, he was there a little bit longer, so he had definitely had a few more days to start and finding the best tacos in Denton, Texas.
Well, I'd be remiss saying that, it's mi casita. Like, that's hands down. Best food in Denton, mi casita. But that late night taco
did find
joint.
Some pretty good birria tacos, though.
Oh, dude. Yeah. There's lots of good tacos in Denton. Was that your first time in
first time in Denton proper. I had stayed near there, well, in Denton, but on the outskirts, when I was working for some aerospace place that had like a facility in Gainesville.
Wait.
So that was kind of where they'd like plant us at and be like, all right, you guys are all staying in Denton and you're driving all the way to Gainesville.
I like how you just like casually drop like, oh, when I did some aerospace stuff, like, so
it was supply chain. It wasn't anything like impressive.
Okay.
I mean, I learned a lot. The cool thing was because I was surrounded by like, I guess that kind of helped out because I was surrounded by plastic machines, injection mold, and even fiberglass type of equipment. So that's why I got some of the desire to kind of do some of the 3D printing stuff. But yeah, that was more like residual because that wasn't my main part of my job. Like I was buying the plastic or helping, manage the people that bought all the plastic and stuff like that and planning for it. But it was good times. I miss that place. Yeah. COVID kind of ended things for that facility.
COVID ruined so much stuff.
It did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was your first like Texas Pull-A-Con then?
First Texas Pull-A-Con, yeah. Second Pull-A-Con ever is the previous one in the Bay Area. Was it in March?
Yeah, I was so sad to miss that one. Like I was totally planning on going, but just with like COVID restrictions and everything, like San Francisco is like expensive enough to stay in for like a couple of days, but I was just like the possible risk of having to spend 14 days there isolating if I got a positive result, like, you know, I would never financially recover from that. So
Yeah, some of those are brutal. Yeah, I haven't really traveled a lot because I just don't want to deal with it. I'm sure there's ways to figure it out now, and you know, you don't have to, you know, be too crazy about it. But like here in the U.S., I've traveled obviously for Denton, but that's been it. Like that's been just about the only flight that I've taken. Maybe
well,
I'll go somewhere else domestically, but at least overseas, you know, I look at some of the rules and then some of the places where you have to like, you know, do stuff in apps and all this stuff. It's not as easy as just take a flight, land, you know, book a place.
yeah,
They
it's
say
not
you
like
have
the
to
old
worry about
world.
like testing to get there, testing while you're there, testing back. For some places, at least.
Well, we got rid of all of that stuff in Canada, so you don't have to do that anymore. You can just roll into Canada, and it's totally fine now. At the
And I
moment,
wouldn't have thought that because weren't you guys like the most closed down for a while? Like up there,
it
I think.
depended on which province you were trying to get into. Like some provinces were a little more locked down than others, but the country itself, there was like vaccine requirements to come in and like testing requirements. And I mean, the last trip that I took before the world ended was the first Polacon Bay area.
Before
Yeah,
the first year of 2020.
yeah, in 2020 before COVID. And you know, then there was like 2020 AC, like after COVID,
Yep.
and you
Yeah.
know, we're
It's been
now.
one hell of a long year. Yeah, I still refuse to like say that that year is over.
No,
Like
it's.
not until everything gets fully back to normal. You know, not until
I don't
like
think
there's just no looming
I don't think normal's ever coming
fear
back
there.
though. That we're just this is the new world now,
I don't think so.
and we just need to make the best of the new world, which we absolutely did in Denton, Texas. Like it
You
was.
did. That was an interesting experience, sure.
So, what was your most favorite part about Polacon and Texas in general?
It's always the people. You know, I think it's always the people. I think like the best thing that I could say. I mean, especially about like that group of people. Is just you know how like there's a saying that like the reason why a lot of people like analog versus digital is because it hits different. You know, and I think I say the same about instant photography people versus like regular analog people. It's just the crowd just hits different. You know, I mean, I may be biased because I feel like I shot mostly instant when I started, when I really started shooting a lot, even though then I just kind of didn't. And then I kind of picked it back up again. But I mean, that aside, I still feel like even when I go to the meets, I feel like the instant crowd is always some of the best people. But yeah, just catching up, kind of see what everybody's been up to, especially everybody that brought out like their stuff. Oh, like Brett, you know, and his embroideroid stuff. That was pretty cool to see like in person.
That stuff's super wild. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Brett. Let me see. I think I can.
No, he's busy out in LA, being awesome.
Embroideroid.
Yeah, I bought his book too.
Oh, okay.
Try to buy a few things here and there while I was there to support the peoples.
And this is the magic. He does a pairing of you know, embroideries and Polaroids.
Yep, had a little workshop too to show everybody how the magic happens.
Yeah, it was interesting because he uses the same scissors that my mom used when I was a kid, and so that was a little triggering, but cool still.
Did it bring back positive memories or negative memories? You have to think about that.
Well, it was
Come here, remember?
it wasn't negative or positive, but like I don't know if this was like a like an Asian mom kind of thing or something, but we used to have to like pluck white hairs and gray hairs out, and we get like 5 cents for each one. And, yeah, And I really like doing that. And I just remember those embroidery scissors, because she did a lot of cross stitch and stuff.
I didn't see them. Were they like the little orange handled ones?
It's like the little like it's like a gold bird.
Oh, okay. Can't picture them.
It's very distinct. Like, if you know, you know. But Brett was a cool guy. Going on with our theme of favorites, who was your favorite person at Policon?
How can it not be anyone other than Abel? Seriously.
Oh.
I got to like Uber him around everywhere, so that was pretty cool. Just having a lot of like eat time with him, essentially. We went to the fair, Texas. Well, we tried to avoid going to the Texas fair by going to all the photo shops nearby.
Mm-hmm.
While everybody was at the fair, because we didn't want to walk. Like, we don't want to. It's like hot as hell, and we wanted to go check out gear. And we kind of had a late start. So what's funny though is we ended up actually meeting up everybody at the fair just to try to get there at the end. But on our way out, I guess we went out the wrong exit. And then we started walking to where we thought the car was, and then we realized that we were halfway on the other side of the fair from the car. So we ended up like fucking walking the whole thing twice anyway. but it was cool though, good conversation, always a pleasure.
Yeah, you guys are fun to chat with. Like it was nice that night y'all came and hung out at the camera store. I thought about going to the state fair, but the only way I'm ever going to go to the state fair again is if someone's lighting big techs on fire. That's it. Like,
yeah, I did not know about that, but I saw that Instant Film Society posted that Polaroid that someone took of the fire. So that's pretty wild.
Legendary. Like
to be there and catch a Polaroid of it. That's pretty legendary.
Dude, too. When I first heard about it, I was like, how many kids have gone to therapy for watching this like animatronic? So for people that don't know, at the Texas State Fair, which is in Dallas, Texas, they have this like huge animatronic figure named Big Tex, which is basically a scaffolding of like a skeleton of like an animatronic man covered in some sort of like nylon clothing or something that waves and talks and it's like, howdy everyone and all this stuff. And a few years back he like lit on fire while he was like waving and talking to people. It's like all of his clothes were burning off of him and he's like, howdy folks.
Wow. Yeah, that's right, because the electronics didn't burn, so that was like the last thing to go. The voice box.
Yeah, so I was just like, how many kids?
Simpsons, I swear to the Simpsons must have had an episode of something similar.
They would have had to
before that happened.
But
they predicted it. I'm sure of it.
I've just always wondered like how many kids got fucked up by like watching like flaming big techs, and so that's the only way I'll go back to the state fair, because it's usually
so
too
he
hot.
Was wearing like fabric before and everything.
Yeah,
because I swear like this one was like all probably some like flame retardant plastic, because it looked like it had that shiny glossy finish to it.
Yeah, they must have put something, because I think before it was just like nylon, like it looked like parachute material or something.
Oh, right.
So you just went poof, which would have been
smoke.
Yeah, fucking big techs. I mean, Abel is interesting, but I like Abel, but. Who do you think would win the popular vote? I'm going to put you on the spot with this one.
Oh, man. Dan, probably. Dan the man, the goat.
I didn't even say who Abel was going to be up against, and you knew who I was going to say.
Else. I thought you were going to tell him like out of everybody.
No, I was going to say popular vote between Abel and Dan, and you were like, Dan.
Oh yeah, but you were going to say Dan though.
I was going to say Dan, so you already knew where I was going with that one.
Go.
Yeah.
See, is Dan on? Because we know it. We know what's up.
I think Dan might be on there. I mean, I gotta say, big love to both of them. I I couldn't pick a favorite between the two of them. You know, so my favorite would be Mikasita.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Where is it here?
No. Yeah, the night at the Benton Camera Exchange, that was pretty fun. Kind of cool. Like when who was it that told me? Oh no, I think it was Dan. Dan was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go and open up. It's like after hours, like 1 a.m. Like we're gonna go just drink at the camera shop." All right, I'm there.
Well,
and then I show up, and then Zane is there.
Well, because we were supposed to go to Zane's,
bitches.
And that dude, that was such a king of the hill moment when he brought out.
Yeah, seriously.
That was great.
Yeah.
I can't even. It was a cheesy beer too. It had like some sort of catchphrase on it or something. Very Texan.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Someone on the YouTube stream says WFAA's Lopez, as she always does, was quick with the scoop. Big Tech's most likely died of natural causes, she tweeted, citing Dallas police sources. Mechanical problem, her tweet said, not a homicide.
But Big Tech was again.
I mean,
well, is it fake Big Tech now?
I think that's just like big media.
I
think that's like big media lying about what happened to Big Techs because like they don't want the truth to come out.
That's true.
Yeah.
So many things hidden, but the internet finds out. The internet always finds out.
Oh, they were called Snack or whatever because Zane's like cold snack. It's weird to have a beer called a snack, but I could see that. It's like, there's enough carbs in it to be a snack.
Yeah. Yeah, I do occasionally say I'm gonna go on a beer diet for the night. It's got enough calories, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't count calories.
I'm having this really awesome, by the way. This is not sponsored, unfortunately. But if any of you have a Winco anywhere nearby, I don't know if it's available where you're at. But Elysian's got this like Halloween themed 12-pack. And it's got a bunch of good like pumpkin and coffee pumpkin and all this other stuff in it that's pretty good. Highly recommend it. It's like $16, $17 too. Here in California, so it's probably cheaper in other places.
That sounds delicious. I mean, I'm from Canada, so I don't think I can buy that. But at the moment, I am.
These guys are from Seattle, so they might be available in Vancouver.
Well, I can always just wander down and.
Yeah, Elysian. You never heard of Elysian?
No.
They have a Space Dust IPA, which is probably their popular one.
Zane says they're called Montucky Cold Snack.
Montucky.
I'm drinking a.
Did we make fun of that name there? Because I'm like, how did we miss that? Great name.
I think we did make fun of that.
We probably did.
I'm having a Spark Mouth strawberry sparkling water. Yeah, not sponsored. Spark Mouth. Because I have to drive later.
We don't get sponsored. We don't, or I don't know if you do. I don't get sponsors.
I wish I could get sponsors, but I don't think I'm popular enough, which is super weird for me though, because like this kind of weirded me out on the trip. Is how much you Americans love like fame and shit. I'm not used to that stuff, and so it's
fame?
like fame and like whatever. It's a weird thing for me because like I'm not used to that kind of shit, and anyone I know here in Canada could give two shits that I do this podcast. They're just like, oh, neat, you have a podcast, nerd, whatever. But
nerd.
Yeah, nerd. It makes you think of Hot Tub Time Machine too, when the guys like always makes those like dumb comments about like, oh, an alternate dimension, what, like in Fringe, and you're like, nerd. And then they had a song. It was like, you're a fucking nerd, and no one likes you.
Yeah, I don't think I'm one of those Americans. I think I'm only because I think I'm an introvert that is trying super hard to be extroverted for when I need to. Because believe me, after this this show, I'm gonna go like recharge, and shut everything down, and be like, all right, everybody, leave me alone.
You're like, Daddy needs more of these snacks.
And then replay the whole conversation in my head, and like, damn, I shouldn't have said that. And then, oh, damn, I forgot to say that. And that's gonna be the rest of my night. So
yeah, you'll be like, oh, I should have said like the child that no one knows about is my favorite child.
Missed opportunity.
This could have been your chance to let everyone know about your secret family, and you could have let the weight of all of that guilt just like let loose.
I could have dropped like the GoFundMe link to help me raise my long lost children that I didn't know about.
Yes.
Donate now.
Go.
Yep.
That's pretty good. So, you know, like let's we need to Kickstarter that or something, or
yeah.
Actually, I'm surprised someone hasn't started a Kickstarter for like a child or something yet. You know that. I don't know.
You know, I think I would imagine probably somebody's tried, but then Kickstarter immediately nipped that in the bud. You know, and who knows? Like, I'd love to be a part of their like whatever team that is in charge of moderating that. Just to ask them, like, what's the craziest Kickstarter that you guys prevented from happening? And I bet you there's one related to, you know, adopting a child or something related to it.
So on the child thing, I saw this like crazy, I think it was like a class action lawsuit or something that a bunch of these states are having, where apparently like one dude donated so much semen to like multiple different sperm banks, but it's only like you're only supposed to use so much of it to make sure that, like, you know, we don't end up with a bunch of people inbreeding with each other, having no idea that they're actually related to each other. And this didn't happen with this man's specimen. And so it went all over the US, in Canada, into like other countries. And they're finding out that, like, through like these DNA things, that all of these people with no connection to each other are randomly related. Some of them in relationships with each other.
Damn, that much, huh? This people is that busy, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
whoa.
If we could make money with that here in Canada, I would definitely be like tens of dollars richer than I am right now. Yeah, I just give that shit up for free at the moment.
Oh, so that is not a thing over there, huh?
No, not in Canada. I mean, like, there's like sperm banks you don't get paid to do. It's not like the U.S. where, like, you know, you give up parts of your
social
body.
Obligation, Canada.
Yeah.
You guys are just so much more wholesome up there, though.
Bell's comment is the best. I heard he donated so much to One Instant. That, for those of you that don't know, there's this film. Actually, I've got some right here. So
yeah, I know it's hard to know who's on because you kind of would think that everyone is related to the film community, but I'm sure we've got lots of friends who are like, "What the F are you talking about?" Like, dude, you used to be in fixing up race cars. Like,
so
what the fuck is up with the cameras?
This is One Instant, and One Instant is a film that was resurrected by Florian Capps, who resurrected Polaroid. And this is his attempt to make pack film cameras usable again. And it's brilliant. It's super cool. It's called One Instant because instead of there being 10 shots in each package, there's only one shot in each package. And it's so fucking expensive because it's truly bespoken film. Humans in Austria make this in dark rooms, like completely in the dark. Like, they do it all by hand. It's kind of wild. It's really expensive. And when you shoot the film and it develops, it smells like cum.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm not gonna. I've only shot it twice, and I don't think I caught a whiff of that. And now I'm not going to be able to unremember this. So I'm going to have to ask somebody else. Here, you peel it. Yeah.
So many people that have used
We'll
it.
save it for Peels on Reels, so somebody else could peel it and get that smack in the face of.
Yeah, someone's like, wow, it reminds me of this party I went to. I think it was like a Japanese theme thing. Like, I don't know, like it was like a bee something. Oh yeah, bukkake.
Wow.
It's kind of crazy. Like the first time I ever shot it was with.
You're supposed to be a sweet boy, Abel.
That's the secret, though. Most sweet boys are actually like, dirty little piggies. That's what makes them so sweet. Yeah, I was shooting with my friend Ray, and it was the very first time I shot a frame of this stuff. And when I peeled it, she's like, "Oh, that looks amazing." She's like, "Oh, why does it smell like jizz?" And I was like, "What?" And I'm like,
wow.
I could smell it, and I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from. And then like I smelled the negative. I'm like, whoa, holy fuck, that's fucked up. And then I opened up
secret ingredient.
And then I opened up my film holder, and there was so much extra developer. It literally jizzed all up.
I know what that looks like. I know what it looks like. So now I'm like, damn you.
Right? And so I'm like, not only
I feel
does
like my innocence, a part of my innocence just like slipped away right now.
I was like, not only does it smell like jizz, but it literally jizzes all over the inside of your film holder. And then you have to almost hose it out because there's a lot of extra developer that they put into there, which I find interesting because sometimes it doesn't always spread fully. So I'm like, how could it not spread fully when there's so much juice in the box? I'm
a degenerate who's figured out a trick to bad spreads. You just gotta pull it out as fast as you can through the rollers.
You just gotta give her.
And
You just gotta give her.
Yep, just gotta let it rip. Get your wrist action up in there. Yeah, and actually, out of the two that I've shot, I've gotten full spread on both. Just like that. And even 669, whenever I'll shoot one and I just do it the normal way, I'm like, oh, that didn't get a full spread.
Dude,
it's all right. It's 669. I don't know if I'd ever do it with 3000B or 100C. Once I get to my last pack, so the good thing is my stuff is been taken care of enough that I can do it the normal way. But at least the 669, I'll just let it rip, and I'll get a better spread.
Dude, that 669.
The internet will not love me for that, but it works, and the image looks good. So
that 669 I shot in Denton blew my fucking mind.
What were you shooting with on the?
That was
on Sunday or Saturday for both.
Fuck, what day was I shooting? I think that was on Sunday.
You couldn't have shot it on Sunday, yeah, because Saturday was dark.
Yeah, it was on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, that 669 was fucking mighty, and that the chemical, it smelled like burnt tires, so you knew it was good. Yeah, that's also a weird thing about instant people. We like smelling the chemicals. I don't know if you've noticed that, but we're a weird bunch.
Yeah, before it's it's interesting. I had a shower thought the other day. It's obviously not true, or maybe, but I bought lots of attic finds throughout the years, or gone thrifting and all that. So you kind of get used to what everybody considers the old person smell or the old stuff smell. But then I bought this lot of stuff that was just from a Polaroid photographer, and then you open up and it's kind of that same smell. So I wondered if the whole time old people smell has really just been instant film smell, because for a time everybody had it. You had it in all your stuff, right? If you had an attic, most homes in America that had an attic also had Polaroid gear up there. So just about everyone had some sort of camera or regular film, whatever. It's probably not true. It's probably not related, but it's something that I've pondered. I wonder if it could be true. Because it smells very similar. It's that kind of old people smell, old chemical smell.
Old people smell is an interesting one. Yeah. I mean, there's all
could be the wallpaper too. The glue on the wallpaper, that might be it.
Yeah.
A lot of those cases have that kind of glued in liner that's actually just wallpaper.
Well, and then also the old styrofoam, because it starts to smell a little bit like poo when it starts like degrading a little bit, and like that's kind of a weird one too. And then like when the foam starts to like really disintegrate and it just turns into like that black tar shit, and like if you're digging around in like a box of like camera shit and you're like, why are my hands covered in weird black sticky?
Or 80s rubber grips that have just completely melted away, or they'll melt, or they look perfectly fine, but then you touch it, you're the first person that's touched it for the first time in 20 years, and it's just like the goop all just stays in your fingers.
Yeah, it like steals your fingerprints from you, and then it's gonna try and like fucking cash out your 401k because it's like, you know, got your ID and it's gonna get your social insurance number. Yeah. That's
and your LifeLock password to your screw.
Stanley had a question here. One instant stuff. One instant is still a thing. They actually came out with some black and white film. I don't know if it's $300 a box. Like, I know it's expensive. I can't remember how much I paid for it. But I haven't shot the black and white yet.
I missed out on that one. Didn't grab any.
I got 2 boxes of it, but I don't know. I've been in like a real creative funk the last like year. Like, I think like the road trip in Policon is the most I've shot since I moved to Vancouver. So yeah.
Man, where were your origin and endpoints for your road trip? Like, you didn't go from Canada all the way around and then back up or anything, right? Like,
no, that's exactly
started
what
here and ended here.
No. I started in Vancouver, where I live, and drove to Seattle. I went to Everett first because I've got like an old homie that lives in Everett, and spent the night there. He's actually like my oldest internet friend. I've known this dude since 1995. We had like a web design business together.
Wow.
Over the internet. Like, we ran it over like MIRC and fucking MSN Messenger and ICQ and shit. Dude, super early. And we thought we were like the coolest because like we ran all of these like stupid fucking scripts and shit on like Merc, and like, you know, it's like,
I think that was the year I learned HTML.
Well, all of the scripting stuff
96.
that got him a job as a coder. He does crazy shit for Amazon now. But we didn't actually meet until like fucking 2014 was the first time we had actually met in person, but we'd known each other since the 1995.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kinda like crazy. How? Like, if I do somebody that long on the internet, well, like, is this person like in kind of,
well, he lived in the US and I lived in Canada, and it just never really worked out. And then I was driving down for my very first VMworld, and he was living in Sacramento at the time. So VMworld was in San Francisco back then. And so we stopped in Sacramento and had dinner with him. And it was like, wow, like, dude, we've known each other for like I think like a decade at that point, and that was like the first time we were ever meeting. But now he lives in Everett, so he's like even closer. Yeah, I visited with him, so I spent the night there, and then Armand flew into Seattle. So I picked him up at the airport, and we had brunch with Brandy, and then we hoofed it from Seattle to Redding. We spent the night there. And then we went Redding to Oakland so that we could go to the photo walk on Sunday in Oakland. And that was a lot of fun to see all the Oakland folks. But it was also kind of like, that was like one of the moments where someone was like, hey, like I saw people like whispering and like pointing at me and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And then someone came up like,
in Oakland?
Yeah, in Oakland. And then someone's like, hey, are you that guy that does the photo podcast on Instagram? And someone's like, he's famous.
Oh, okay. It was one of those. It wasn't like a negative like whisper. Like,
no, it was
that's where I thought you were going.
No, it wasn't a negative whisper, but it was like it's still kind of weird for me because like I don't think I'm anything special. Like, I don't have a huge following on here, and like, you know, so that was odd. It happened in Seattle too when I went there for a Grumpy Bean thing. But then after Oakland, we hooked it to Santa Barbara. Spent the night in Santa Barbara at the very first Motel 6. It was nice.
Is that where it is, huh?
The very first Motel 6 is in Santa Barbara. And it was quite nice. The only parking spot they had, though, was the handicap parking spot. And the lady was very insistent that I could park there. And I was like, but I feel like this is wrong because I'm not handicapped.
Yeah.
And she's like, nah, it's cool. Just park there. And I'm like, but is my car going to be there in the morning if I do this? Like, are you sure? And she's like, no, it's cool. Like, I'm saying it's cool. And I'm like, this does not feel cool to me, though. Like,
man. Then you find out she owns the towing company.
Yeah, exactly. My car was still there in the morning.
She's the mayor of town, too.
Yeah.
So, and the chief of police.
I wouldn't want to be the mayor of town, but I would want to be the king of town or the poop smith, either or.
Yeah.
And it was right by the water, which was cool. So like Armand and I walked down to the water and took a few pictures. And then we went to Newbury Park to see Papa Tim. And that was cool because like Tim is such an amazing force in the film community and such a sweet man. So like I wanted to see him and thank him in person. And I took an 8x10 Polaroid of him in his dad's traditional Japanese garb, and it was really cool. Tim's here, and also happy birthday to Tim.
I have not had the pleasure, so hi, Tim. It's nice to meet your avatar.
Dude, Tim is the man.
But I hear lots of amazing things about Tim. So
we
all love the cool people in this industry.
Tim's garage is like the coolest place ever. Like I just like his whole house is like a shrine to Kodak, and like it was like the whole time. Like I kind of felt like Wayne's World's like we're not worthy, we're not worthy, and then
he come out and like here is Kodak the lunchbox, Kodak the action figure,
like Spaceballs.
Yeah.
And then I destroyed his toilet. And that
come on, dude.
It was like a Harry from like Dumb and Dumber moment, because like I had so much panic. Like I was in there for a while like freaking out about what to do, because I was just like,
wow,
and I like Armand used the other bathroom, so I was like, if we'd both use the same bathroom, I was like, I could maybe blame this on Armand and just been like, close it and like, which one was it? Yeah. Like, is it 50-50?
Man, who was in there before me? Whoa.
Tim's like, you don't have to confess. Well, I'm not as embarrassed about it as I was in the moment. Like I was very sheepish because like, I was like trying to figure out what to do to get out of this moment. And then I was like, I just have to own it. And then, I told him what was up and he gave me a plunger and we fixed it. But then that's important for later because like, we were meeting Jason for dinner in Los Angeles that night. And I made sure to use the bathroom at a Starbucks before we got to his house because I didn't want to destroy 2 toilets in one evening. So it's just like,
you don't want that rep.
No, I don't want to be that guy that are like, oh, don't invite him over, he'll like fuck up your plumbing.
Next time Merlin comes over, put out the camping porta potty.
Tell him like hit up the gas station on the way to the house.
Oh yeah, we do it. We do it old school here. Just here's a shovel. Just dig a hole. And, leave no trace. Yeah, we're campers out here.
Like Tim's like, what goes on in the Kodak shrine stays in the shrine.
Yeah, you revealed the secrets.
Well, I didn't sell all the secrets. Just that one. It was kind of funny. And then we went to Los Angeles and had some pizza with Jason, and then the next day we had breakfast with Ray. And that was the ski mask crowbar man day. That was weird. And then after our weird breakfast time, we started making our way for Texas, and we stopped in Cabazon, which was fucking cool. So I don't know if you remember the movie The Wizard, or Pee-wee's Big Adventure. But
Yeah, I remember Pee-wee's. Yeah.
yeah, the T-Rex in Pee-wee's Big
Oh
Adventure.
yeah.
That's in Cabazon.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay money to go in the T-Rex, and I'm cheap, so I didn't go in the T-Rex. But you can go in the Brontosaurus for free because it's a gift shop. And I walked into the Brontosaurus, and I'm like standing in there, and I'm like looking around, and the lady's like, "You watched The Wizard, didn't you?"
You're playing out a scene or what?
And I'm like, no, I was just like looking around like, oh my God, I'm inside of the Brontosaurus. Cause like The Wizard was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. It was a movie that Nintendo made for Super Mario 3 before Super Mario 3 came out. And it was a cool movie. But there's like a scene where like the kid that stars in it, he runs away and he's hiding inside of the Brontosaurus at Cabazon. And there's a front part where they played movies back in the day. You can't go in there now, but I was like, that's where the kid was, wasn't it? And she's like, I've never watched the movie, but you can't go in there. And I'm like, that's where he was. It's like, but, and she's like, a few of you come in here every day. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to leave now. Thanks. But it was cool.
Here's a 20.
Yeah.
Or a 5. Here's a 5.
Yeah, it's like, which one do I got to give you to get in the front of the Brontosaurus?
Yeah.
So Cabazon was cool. And then we stopped in Desert Center, which was also pretty cool. I got some neat photos in Desert Center. Then we ended up in Lordsburg, New Mexico that night, and stayed in another Motel 6. Not as nice as the Santa Barbara Motel 6. It was okay. Much more affordable than the Santa Barbara one. But yeah, Lordsburg was not very memorable at all. Then we stopped. I can't remember where we stopped. It had like a really big water tower in it. We like took a picture of this like empty pool that I think Jason shot at one point. I bought like a cool like one of those like blankets, like the traditional like sort of I don't know, what do you fucking call them? Like New Mexico style blanket or something.
The sarapes?
Yeah, where it's got like
the blanket, the one with the opening, or just the regular?
Just the regular blanket. Not with the opening.
Okay.
Yeah, I always wanted one of those, and we stopped to get gas at this one spot, and we got there was these blankets there, so I bought one.
You have some really comfy winters in Vancouver now.
Yeah, it's really soft.
The thick ones, right?
Yeah.
Thick, fleecy ones or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it's got a nice texture to it because I'm a very textural person, so I appreciate that it has this like really nice. It feels like it would be very.
Was
cozy.
It one of those ones with like a tiger on it?
No, it was just like so it was like different shades of like gray and black, and then it had like some white in it, and like little sort of like texture balls sewn into it. Very cozy looking. It's at home, otherwise I'd show you. And then we got, where did we get to that night?
This is still in New Mexico, or you're?
We were driving, so I think we'd hit Arizona at that point. Arizona was fucking cool because we're driving through, and there's like forests of cactuses, and I've never seen shit like that before. But they were all like little stubby cactuses, and it looked like there's parts of British Columbia when you drive through here where they're doing reforestation, so you see all these like little stubby trees, and it looked like that, like someone was like trying to reforest a bunch of like cactuses or some shit, and that
is some really unlikely thing to hear somebody from Canada say, like, yeah, Arizona was pretty cool, because let me tell you, lots of people here drive through Arizona and are like, Arizona's not pretty cool.
I thought it was pretty cool.
You guys have trees, dude. You guys have
but we don't have cactuses though.
Yeah, you don't have dead scenery. You must love desert landscapes, then, huh?
Well, so like I grew up in Kamloops, or I didn't grow up, but like I had family, and my family still lives there in Kamloops, which is like a semi-arid desert. So like I do have a bit of experience with desert, but we don't have cactuses. Like cactuses are just so fucking cool. I feel like they would freeze if they lived in Canada in the winter time. Like I don't think they would do well in the winter. That's probably why we don't have them. Then we got into Texas, and
Texas.
we were
And that took like
driving.
4 days.
Yeah. Excuse me. We driving through El Paso was fucking weird. Like seeing Mexico like right there. That was a bit bonkers. Yeah, we didn't stop in El Paso. We just drove through it, and I was okay with that completely. And then we hit the US 90 and started making our way from Marfa. And yeah, Marfa was fucking... Valentine was really cool. We stopped in Valentine, and I don't know, like that whole, like all the stuff on the US 90 was like really interesting. Like all very like decrepit and depressed and abandoned, and just really like fascinating, and like kind of had this like haunting beauty about it. Marfa was cool. It's like, it's hipstery as heck. But Marfa was
I've never
neat.
I've never driven to Texas, so that's
Dude,
one of the on the bucket list.
You should do it for
I've
the next
driven to
Polacon.
Chicago, and that's the furthest that I've driven in the U.S. I've been wanting to do at least go through Texas to either go to Florida or the East Coast somewhere, northeast.
I like Chicago.
But I haven't done that one yet. From here to Texas, Arizona, Phoenix is the furthest I've gone in that direction, southwest at least.
Mr. Bestwick's like, I didn't know Merlin was from Canada. No wonder he's such a nice guy. Well, thank you, A. Yeah, dude, you should definitely check, like, for next Polacon, just fucking drive. Like, you know, I don't think it's a terrible drive from San Diego. It's like 20 hours from where you are to get to Denton, but worth it. Totally.
Yep. Maybe if I get that I'm going to go and spread its wings out there.
Yeah, let it be a peacock and just fucking spread its wings and let it fly.
Yep.
Marfa was fucking funny because, like, we weren't planning on spending the night in Marfa, but we ended up spending the night in Marfa, and we found, like, the one hotel that was, like, open and would take my call, and the lady's like, we close at 10, but I'll stick around to, like, you know, check y'all in. So we get into the hotel, and this lady's like, oh, where are y'all from? And Armand's like, I'm from Denton, Texas. And I'm like, I'm from Canada. She's like, oh, you're a long way from home, ain't you? I was like, yep. That's an astute observation, ma'am. And she's like, well, what y'all doing? I'm like, I'm just driving down to Texas to go to this Polaroid thing and see some friends that I haven't seen in the last 3 years because of, like, everything that's been going on. And she's like, oh, I ain't ever getting the jab. And I was like,
wow,
okay, cool. I mean, good for you. She's like, I ain't even away. Yeah, and she's like, I ain't even gotten a flu shot. And I'm like, awesome. That I'm very happy for you. That's neat. Yeah. Anyways, let's just proceed with this check-in. And then she's like, y'all gonna go check out the Marfa lights? And there's apparently, like, these unexplainable lights in the distance in Marfa. You drive out to this rest stop that's 8 miles out of town, and in behind is a viewing station. And there's apparently these unexplained lights off in the distance. And
is it alien?
we saw stuff, but we were also very high. So, you know,
that's when they show up.
Take that with
like they know.
Yeah,
they totally know. They're like, oh, these people are high. We're going to reveal ourselves.
Exactly.
Hi guys, we bring you love, but nobody's going to believe you. So
yeah, we put our love in butts, and no one understands it. It just like everyone gets really upset. But she's like, y'all gonna check out the Marfa lights? You just You drive on 8 miles up the road there, and you'll see a rest stop, and you just get on out, and you walk in behind there, and there's a viewing area. And I was like, oh, cool. You hear that, Armand? Maybe we'll find you a glory hole in the rest stop.
Wow.
I was being cheeky because I was super tired from like all the driving, and I didn't even think that I just dropped like a glory hole reference in front of this.
Oh,
like,
you actually said that. I thought you were just thinking that.
No, I said it out loud in front of this like, older white lady who definitely looked like she would ask for the manager. And then I whipped around and looked at.
But then she tells you where the glory hole is.
Well, not quite, but not far from it. It's like you just go on over to the 4th stall down, and you give it a little knock, 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 and you're in. Yeah, she just looked at me, and I looked at her, and I was like, oh, fuck, is this going to be a bad situation? Like, are we sleeping in the car tonight?
Wow.
And she just started cackling and, like, slapping her leg, and she's like, oh, you're funny. You remind me of my son. I miss him. And I was like, fuck, if I remind you of your son, he must be a bit of a fucked up dude. But, cool beans. Also, why does a glory hole joke make you think of your son? Like, I have so many questions.
I was about to ask, but
yeah. I have so many questions that I don't want answers to. Just give us the keys to the hotel room. It was a nice motel room, surprisingly. I liked it. And we saw the Marfa lights. And then I got paranoid.
Is it like a series of lights, or is it like one or two, or
it looks like railway signal lights and then like moving like headlights, but there's nothing out there. Like, we drove by in the daytime when we left Marfa and took a look, and there was like fucking nothing out there. So I haven't Googled it yet. I'm sure if I Googled it, someone would have some sort of smart answer as to why the Marfa lights exist. And then we had a really good breakfast, I think in Marathon or Alpine. I think it was Alpine. Alpine's a really fucking cool city. And then we got to Denton and did all the Polacon stuff. And then all of you convinced me to drive to Albuquerque to meet a strange man who I'd never met before or really had heard of before.
Oh, you had never met Ethan?
No. I'd never met Ethan. I had never had a conversation with Ethan. Like, he was a total stranger to me, and I drove what I think was like 9 hours or something to Albuquerque based solely on what you and Abel and a few other people had like vouched for him on. So
I met him for the first time at Polacon Bay Area.
If I got murdered, it would have been your guys' fault. Fun. Yeah. So.
Why? Because Ethan has turned you into a 3D printer?
Well, I was thinking about
these are actually people, former people.
The filament is people. That's this is why the Cameradactyls are so special.
Biodegradable.
Exactly. Fully recycled, completely organic and free range.
Yep.
But totally worth the drive. Ethan was one of the most brilliant people I've talked with in a while. His workshop's super cool. And, I mean, driving through North Texas is not something that I particularly savored, though. Just seeing all of, like, the Trump flags, and there was a lot of, like, thin blue line flags. And I was just like, oh, neat. If only they had an idea that a brown atheist was, like, driving past their properties right now. It'd be in trouble. And then I kind of fucked up. I lost a day. I got mixed up on my days. And I texted Jason to say, like, hey, good luck with your exhibition tonight. I hope everything goes well. Congratulations. And he's like, oh, cool. It's not till tomorrow. And I'm like, fuck. How the hell did I lose a day? And then we were, like, talking about other stuff, and I inadvertently agreed.
Well, you kind of gained a day, because the day that you thought it wasn't until the next day. That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, but then I fucked up.
Traveled back a day.
And I agreed to be in San Diego on the next day. And that meant getting up in Albuquerque at like 5 a.m. to get there in time for the exhibition. I did not get up on time.
I wondered about that because you hit me up and I'm like, wait a minute, like, aren't you still in Albuquerque? But I think by then you were probably already really close.
Yeah, I was already pretty
you
close.
Took off super early, but
well,
my whole thinking was like, yeah, wasn't he like just over there, like in Albuquerque? Like, how the hell is he in San Diego already?
I drove really.
You're kind of taking your time.
I drove really fast.
Now that I know the story.
Yeah, I drove very fast. Yeah. Actually, it's been really hard acclimatizing back to the speed limits here in Canada because we drive much slower than y'all do down there by like a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like I got used to doing like 140 kilometers regularly, which we're not allowed to do anywhere in this country. Like the fastest speed limit I've seen is 130 kilometers. On average, we drive like 100, which I think is like, I don't know, 25 for you guys. Not that low, but like, you know, it's kind of low compared to like what you guys drive. But yeah, I didn't make it in time for the exhibition, but I made it in time for dinner. So we had dinner at Bali High, which was interesting. A fighter jet almost made me shit my pants. That was cool. Why do they have to be so fucking loud and so close to like?
That's the thing. Yeah, San Diego fighter jets, San Diego is just something that is around here.
I thought it was
I live like
earthquake.
I live north, so I live close to what I have next to me is like the Marine Corps base up here. So we get a lot of like bombardment, and then my garage door will like vibrate because it's right here next to me, and it's just like at first it was hard to get used to it because I'm like, the war's happening. Like World War III is here. Because, dude, it just sounds like that. It really sounds like you don't hear, like, the loudness, but it's kind of like that distant percussion that just kind of, like, jolts. Everything is like, boom, 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 boom. And it's, like, really, like, in rapid succession. And it's like, wow. So that's kind of hard to get used to after a while. But then the America kicked in, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, brother.
Jesus. Yeah, America.
Burn those tax dollars with some like showing exercise, because that is a lot of freaking bombs and missiles on a monthly basis out here. So I'm like,
yeah, but there's no money for like education and blah blah blah. But you know, bombs.
Gotta defend Europe, you know.
Yeah, I feel like if America was a person, they'd be like a guy that like wears like Carhartts and like camo and Under Armour and drives like a F-350 that's all jacked up and chromed with like truck nuts.
I'm pretty close. Don't have the truck nuts. But no, I don't have the Carhartt either.
And then they like it's not horsepowers, it's bald eagles. How much freedom does your vehicle have, brother?
Freedom.
Oh man, America's weird. But I miss it, oddly enough. And San Diego is cool.
Yeah, I mean it's all kinds of weird though. Like, I mean, even here in California, I feel like I like to say that California is like the United States of the United States. It's like that place where like everybody wants to shit on, but like everybody loves to live there, you know? So like, but it sucks there and fuck their laws and fuck everything about California.
Mr.
Oh, but you want to live in San Diego? Yeah, cool, live by the beach. You know, let's go for a vacation to the beach, you know?
Yeah, and then the fighter jets make you shit your pants, and it's cool because you're in the water. You can just like make it go away. Mr. Beswick says, America has turned into the person I knew growing up that didn't have any brakes on his car because he spent his money on his stereo. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, bro, I got the new Bass Mechanic CD, and I got these like 18 kickers in the back of my car with like 20,000 watts of power. Hoo-ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that subset of Americans that for some reason they're like hardcore Americans, but they have Civics, so they got the VTAC. I got the VTAC, but they have like bald ass tires and no suspension. But you got the VTAC, bro.
I call
and
those
FI wheels on your Civic.
Yeah, I call those cars angry bumblebees because they usually have the big coffee can exhaust on the back of them, and they just go like, "Brrrr!" Like they're so fucking loud. I grew up with that shit, like all the racers with like, they'd have like the spoon sticker on the side of their car, and it's like, you don't have a spoon fucking engine in that car, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no Mugen power under that hood or like HKS whatever, like, you know. I like this one. You don't know how many times I've seen a Shop American bumper sticker on a Nissan.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, my modding origin story actually kind of starts with cars because I was pretty big on putting fart can exhaust on cars. Thanks, Merlin.
Hey, it's fine, dude.
No, I wasn't too bad with the exhaust because I hated that sound, but I definitely was more about performance for a while. Right before Fast and the Furious came out, I had a big street racing phase. Pretty cool.
I can't believe Fast and the Furious is like basically become a religion.
Yeah, Fast and Furious 12 coming soon.
Why? We don't need that. I mean, maybe there. Actually, no, that's not fair. Somewhere, someone out there really needs that, and I don't want to take that away from them. You know.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's just because I was a car guy for the longest time. Like, I'll see the movie and I acknowledge that it's like any of the movies lately, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck is up with this movie? But it's like, but I want to keep watching it.
It's like a car accident or something.
And then they added The Rock, and it was like all over. Like, yeah, The Rock. Because I think The Rock can be in the shittiest movie, and it's gonna be the best movie just because The Rock is.
Well, and then they added the Rock.
I find him entertaining.
I like The Rock, and then they added that fucking rivalry between him and Jason Statham.
Yeah.
And I was like, you didn't need that. That one though with The Rock and Gallagher and Ryan Reynolds wasn't terrible. I kind of like that one. The thieving one, I think it was like a Netflix one or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's a few that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, and then after San Diego,
I'm not up to speed on my Rock library.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I wonder when they're gonna add Kevin Hart.
I know, right? Like, it feels like Kevin Hart's already been in a Fast and Furious movie for some reason. Like, he was, right? There was this movie. Like, I could have sworn. Like, Mandela Effect. Shit.
So, my favorite Kevin Hart movie...
we should say that Kevin Hart was in a Fast and Furious, and everybody's crazy for not remembering.
I like that Kevin Hart should be the bad guy. Could you he's got he should be the bad guy because he would be
would be an epic twist.
Yeah, that would be an epic. M. Night Shyamalan.
Like super sinister, and in a movie where Samuel Jackson is like his bitch, like that. That would be
like the bitch, or like Samuel Jackson is the man. Like he plays Whitey in one, where like that could be kind of funny. My favorite Kevin. Oh, he was the air marshal. Jesus.
Oh, he was. All right.
Oh, too late. Damn. My favorite Kevin Hart movie.
We'll have to add him to another. Jungle Cruise.
No, not Jungle Cruise.
Kevin Hart is the bad guy.
No, my favorite one was what was it? The wedding one that he did with Josh Gad, The Best Man or whatever, where like he plays like your best man for like money or whatever, and Josh Gad hires him to be his best man because he's like this epic loser, and him and Kevin Hart have a bromance, and I like Josh Gad. He's a funny guy.
I have not seen that one.
He's all right.
I think the last Kevin Hart movie I saw was with the one with Mark Wahlberg. Where they were like, were they best friends or something?
Oh,
like
yeah.
Some of these movies, like to me, the plot lines like blur. So I like find myself mixing up a John Hart, a Kevin Hart movie with a John Cena movie and a Rock movie.
Dude, Stanley
like
Stanley says
movie somewhere in there.
Stanley says they could remake Twins with The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Man, yes. I mean, all the movies are getting remade now, so like, why not, right? Like,
Why not,
let's just do it,
dude? Or the baby one, because they're like
Kindergarten Cop. Now that we're on that, the Kindergarten Cop is with The Rock.
No, not The Rock. Not The Rock. It would the guy that would be the best for Kindergarten Cop. Would be. Fuck. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy. The blue dude.
Dave Bautista.
Yeah, him as Kindergarten Cop. Holy shit! Like.
As a Marvel superhero.
I mean, that movie has like the best line. It's not Tuma.
Man.
Arnold. Oh man, 3 Men and a Baby.
When's Arnold making his on-screen comeback? I'm waiting for for Arnold to sell his image to deepfake production companies so that we can just have like all of the Arnold movies remade, but it's still with like young Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's a deepfake. So we're gonna get that soon with all the Bruce Willis movies. Sounds like.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Why not, Merlin? It's the end of the world. Just who cares? Everybody's just. We're just writing the rest of it. We're mailing it in.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no new ideas. Like, I mean, what are your thoughts on Leica and the M6?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know that it's kind of cool to talk shit about Leica and Leica people and Leica users here and there, but
I still.
I think it's good. I think it's okay. I mean, I'm not from that world, so I don't really have an opinion about it. Like, I think my opinion is more like, you know what? Like, it's probably not what that group wanted. Maybe they wanted something different. It sounds like. I don't really know what that community really is saying about it. Well, but I would imagine that's the case.
So I try to.
But my whole thing is like, at least there's a freaking film camera.
That's true.
You'd want that because don't forget, like, everybody probably kind of looks at Leica and be like, all right, well, Leica's doing it. We're going to do something cheaper. So, Canon, bring back the P.
Canon doesn't give a fuck.
None of them do. I mean,
so
at least that's the thing, though. At least Leica, if it wasn't the best move for a lot of people, probably, but
Well, I tried to poo-poo on it last week with the
we're
bell.
the peasants and we're getting scrapped. So let's just scrapped.
I still want one.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, it's like, yeah, no matter how much like shit we talk, like, you still want one. You wouldn't, or if you saw one like for a good deal, like, you wouldn't be like, oh, I don't want to be a Leica guy, so I'm not going to buy that. Like at like a 50% discount. Like, hell yeah, you're going to buy that freaking camera,
Yeah, like I don't know. So I hated on Leica pretty hard until I used one, and then I was like, well, fuck. They're really nice to use. And then I tried to like hate on it with a bell last week. And when I actually worked out like how much a new M6 was when they first launched them in the 80s versus how much they are today at this new launch, it's cheaper than it was when they first launched them back in the 80s. When you account for inflation and everything. So everyone that's like, oh, it's super expensive. It's like, it's not really though. Like, they've actually made it affordable versus like what the original M6 was. And even compared to like what M6s are selling for now, like, it's only like, I don't know, another like $1,000 or so to get a brand new camera that has a warranty and everything versus buying like a used thing that, someone's had their fucking dick grabbers all over for the last couple decades. So I don't know. I might sell like my left nut for a camera or something.
Yeah, I like enjoying too many different types of cameras and lenses to where it's like, I forgot what form I had on my signature of like, saving up for a Leica or a Hasselblad, but then, buying every used camera on the way, or something like that. Because it's like, like you want to save, but there's so many cool cameras out there, and that's the thing for me. It's like when you kind of commit to one of those more expensive, or like a Mia 7, unless you've got massive amounts of money, like your collection isn't going to be that big. I mean, to be fair though, those might be the only cameras that you ever need really to make wonderful art. So, there's that. But
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I look at my whole camera collection. I was like, man, I would have probably had to sell about 30 of these to buy just the body. And then and then all of my lenses to buy like this one Leica lens, maybe. But I mean, the good thing about those cameras though, it's going to outlive you more than likely. I think
they're usually like an heirloom kind of thing, but a lot of people don't value that kind of stuff anymore. Stanley made a point here. It's like a BMW or anything luxury. People knock them until they drive them, and then they know why people like BMWs. Sorry to like knock you on that one, but I'm going to disagree about BMW being a luxury vehicle. Because like
I used to repair cars. I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. But I get the sentiment though. I get the sentiment.
No, I get the sentiment. A real luxury car is a Mercedes-Benz. I'm just going to like throw that out.
That one. Let's just say well-made luxury car. Let's just say in general, well-made luxury car. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I wouldn't even call BMW a well-made luxury car. It's
no, I'm just saying like don't name a brand. Just say it's like you knock a well-made luxury car until you actually like drive them.
Yeah, exactly. It's I used to work on cars and I hated working on BMWs because they were just such shit. Like I felt bad for people that owned them. Sorry if you own one, Stanley. Should have bought a Merc. I mean, I drive a fucking Volvo. I can't say anything. Like, which I would probably consider to be more luxurious than most BMWs I've worked on, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, I miss my Volvo.
Oh,
it's still in the family. My little brother has it now because I've got the Tacoma.
Taco.
The taco is great.
Yeah.
It's I'm gonna be sad when I have to give it back. I feel bad for whoever's gonna get it next because there's like fucking 12,000 kilometers of farts in that thing now. I had a lot of Tex-Mex in fucking Denton. Yeah, and then after San Diego,
the hell out of or breeze the hell out of the car when you hand it over.
Nah, as a rental, I'll just give it to them with like whatever. I went back to LA because I did an interview with Jason, and that was really cool. And then he convinced me to take the Pacific Coast Highway on the way back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dude, he was he was very insistent. Like, we had dinner, and then he wrote out all of these directions of like, where he's like, you need to go. He's like, you're a fucking idiot if you don't do this. He's like, it's gonna blow your dick off. And I'm like, well, I kind of like my dick exactly where it is right now, but like, this sounds like an interesting.
It's gonna blow your dick.
Yeah, exactly.
In that case.
Well, yeah, I'll just live there then. So yeah, he's like, try to get to Cambria, spend the night in Cambria, have breakfast there, and then just like, leisurely make your way up to Big Sur. And I'd never seen any of that area before. And like, holy shit, Big Sur that was something else.
Yeah, for sure. You went there during the day then? You went there during the day, or did you?
No, I came there during the day. Like I didn't spend a whole bunch of time in Big Sur, but like I just stopped and like checked it out and took some pictures from a couple of
You haven't dabbled in like astrophotography yet, have you?
No, not yet.
There's some pretty good like beachside, like beach direction Milky Way shots that you can get in Big Sur. That's on my bucket list, on my cliche-stagram bucket list.
Dave's done a bunch of that stuff, like Sinadar. He does some really cool astrophotography.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. it's a cool spot out there. Yeah, I've been wanting to take the truck out because there's some trails that you can get up on there that are kind of off-roadish. So at least like not a whole lot of people go up there. You get some unique, semi-unique stuff. I mean, what is unique anymore anyway? Unless you climb the mountain by foot.
It was also just really cool. Like on one side you've got the ocean, on the other side you've got redwoods, and just the smell combo that had was something else. There are gas stations to photograph at night there if you want to, but only if you bring Cinesta.
Yeah.
And then I spent a few nights in Eureka. A friend of mine lives there, and that was really cool to catch up with them. And Eureka's a cool little town. And then I beelined it for home. Yeah, it was a lot of driving in 2 weeks. Worth it though.
Yeah, that's the thing about the U.S. is just so much geographical diversity until you get to like the flat parts. But even then, like you said, like some of those flat parts, so they still have their charm when you kind of pass through, historical places, or I kind of like places too that maybe had some sort of ties to some sort of industrial region back in the day.
Yeah.
If it was coal or gold mining, like California's got a lot of that kind of stuff, like gold mining, old gold mining towns. And then that all went away, so kind of just to see the remnants of that is pretty interesting. But it's cool too that people are trying to build that back up. So it's not completely forgotten.
That is cool. JP wants to know if you've named any of your printers.
I name all my printers. Yeah, I name them all. I tend to name them after supporting characters in sci-fi movies, or shows. Like the little guy behind me, that's Wicket, because it's orange. So obviously, naturally, Wicket with the orange tunic. My Ender. So the main, one of the big, or at least the more enthusiast printers out there is like the Ender series. So that had to be Wiggin. So Ender Wiggin is not a supporting character, but yeah, it's Ender Wiggin. The Viper Starbuck, if anybody gets that reference since the Battlestar Galactica pilots flew Vipers. So a Starbuck because we have a love-hate relationship, in a way very toxic at times. So whoever knows about Battlestar Galactica lore, you probably know what it is like to be in a relationship with Starbuck. And then my Prusa Chekhov. I don't know why I know Chekhov is Russian, but it's a printer that's made in the Czech Republic. I don't know. That one was more like, you just feel like a Chekhov. I love Chekhov, so congratulations, you're Chekhov. And then my latest printer, JP has one, the Magician X. So I'm like, who's the magician in the sci-fi world? Who's like got magic? And I couldn't settle on a name. I had to pick something from Firefly, I think, is the one sci-fi property that I like that I had not named anything for. So I named it after Washburn, the pilot of Serenity.
I like Firefly.
Yep.
JP wants to know if you have a Chupacabra.
Chupacabra? No. But funny you say that, though, because in a way, maybe. So some of this local kind of thing that we have here, at least in LA, I'm a big soccer guy. So I'm a big Galaxy fan. And then for the longest time, they had a team there. It was Chivas USA. There's the Goats. So there was always lots of Chupacabras reference. Like, we were the Chupacabras when they were killed the Goats. Now they're LAFC, and now they apparently, don't kill us during the regular season, but they've got a number in the playoffs for now.
Oh, you got unhooked there?
I unplugged myself there for a moment. Hello?
Yeah, you're still there.
Okay, cool. Hello, can you hear me?
JP said, I thought you were just going to grab your crotch after you said in a way.
Nice.
Come
on, JP.
What's your favorite?
Is that all you got, JP?
Yeah,
I knew I was like, JP's going to come on and troll a little bit. He's saving his good stuff for hour 2, probably. What time? How long have you been here?
Hour and a half.
We already are in hour 2.
We're getting into it. Which one's your favorite printer?
Who asked that? JP?
No, I'm asking that.
Oh, you. This little one, Wicked. I think it surprised me a lot. I'm going to try to write about it a little bit. I've been working on it forever, but one of the things that I want to do, kind of going into some of the stuff that Ethan is about, is just encouraging other people to get into 3D printing. Maybe if I convince people to get printers, I'll work out some licensing deal where I tell people buy Cameradactyl files so I can get a cut. But yeah, this little printer is one that I just picked up off of eBay. Like I wouldn't have thought. Like, the only reason why I found it is because I was researching another printer that JP got that I really wanted. It's like a mini printer. I wanted to try something that was on the small scale. And in some YouTube comments, some guys like, hey, you should, to whoever would post his video, was like, hey, you should review like this, King Rune KP3S that's from eBay. And I was like, eBay? Like there's somebody that just sells printers solely through eBay. I think they have some on Amazon now. Okay. But mostly they're known as like an eBay printer for $150.
Shit.
So to me, I think the only thing that's bad about it is that it's small, so it doesn't print a whole lot of big stuff. But fortunately for me, it prints everything except for like the main body of the big wide.
Okay.
Which is understandable because that's a freaking huge ass tower of a piece, But everything else fits on it. So I've kind of loved it. It runs pretty fast too. It's kind of a sleeper, so that's at the moment my favorite one until this other one comes in, my big boy printer.
Which one's that?
It's this one called a Bamboo Lab X1C.
Okay.
So, and that'll look more like your almost industrial size, where it's just actually like an enclosed box. So it looks kind of more like an appliance.
That's
and
cool.
It's like white or gray, like I don't know, it's like a white and grayish color. So I am almost positive that I'm going to name it after something from Hitchhiker's Guide, because it reminds me a lot of the ship. What's the name of the ship? In the Hitchhiker's Guide. Somebody's got to know.
I hope you brought a towel.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going to name that one off of something like that. But that one's supposed to be a really good printer. We'll see if that one's my favorite. But it's super expensive, though. But the only reason why I'm getting it is because I think if I make enough big wides, it'll pay off for it. Pay it off. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. But for now, yeah, Wicked is my homie. Surprising me every day.
Someone wants to know what the name of that little eBay printer was again, just so that I think they want to buy one.
Yeah, King Rune, KINGROON, and it is the model is the KP3S.
KP3S.
Yeah, and there's a new one called the KP3S Pro that's I think like $20-$30 more. It's a little bit bigger, and it's got some supposedly better features on it. I haven't read into it, but that's probably one that you want to look at. Because the bad thing about this one is it's like when you get it, it's like the power supply is like separate from the printer. So like I had to make that little enclosure at the bottom to hold the power supply.
Oh, wild. My friend Jordan just came in here and he's like, why are you so hot?
Nice.
I learned it from watching you.
You've got that sexy, studly Merlin beard.
It's stress mostly.
Gandalf. I'm going to start calling you Gandalf instead of Merlin.
Gandalf? I mean, this is how I feel about my beard most of the time.
Yes, you got sound bites.
Dude, I got sound bites. Like here, let's Let's talk about the Big Wide. It's a camera invented by Mario, a genius from San Diego. He uses all these printers from the internet to make your dreams happen. And eBay!
eBay. Yeah. $99.95, Bob.
Yeah.
I would like to bid a €0. Yeah. And then you have the douchebag that's like $1. Right after the zero is like dick. Oh man.
Yeah, the sound bites were like my favorite thing on this when I upgraded. I've spent more money on this like fucking podcast than I like to think about, considering the fact that like it makes me $0. But it's so much fun. Oh, Jordan says, we're talking about printers. What's dude think about the Bamboo X1 Carbon? So hot.
That's the one that I have on order. I've had it. I ordered it 4 weeks ago, so I should be getting. So the way they did that one is you pre-ordered it for like $20, and then which is cool actually. And then like it takes like 4 to 6 weeks for them to make it, and then they'll send an email. It's like, all right, your printer's ready. Give us the balance, and it's like the balance of like $1,000 or something like that.
Ow.
Yeah, it's a pricey one. But like it really cuts down the time by like maybe 30 to 50%.
Yeah, because it takes like what
20.
Wide.
We didn't talk about how long the Big Wide. Yeah, the Big Wide total on my printers. I've been really experimenting, so I've gone it down to 40 something hours.
Damn.
But I think the last person that built one was either JP or Zane, and I think they both went 60 plus. I don't know if JP is still on, but it's somewhere in the 50 to 60 hour range to make all the parts. But on that printer, I'm pretty sure I can get that into like maybe 24 hours, I think, which would be cool. So then you could kind of start seeing, right? Like it's $1,000, but like it's going to pay for itself probably after the third or fourth Big Wide. And that's kind of how I look at it, is like every time I release a camera, I tell myself I'm going to do something nice and buy a printer that's going to be the one that primarily builds the main parts of that camera. Or lots of parts of that camera. But yeah, everything that I've read about that X1C has been pretty good. Last night I was just like really excited because I'm on their Discord, so everyone's like, "Yeah, we're getting our links, and we ordered it, in September something or the other," which is around the time when I ordered it. So I'm like, "Yes, hyped up!" And then I started reading up on it. So it's good to see that a lot of the problems that it has, or that it used to have, the Kickstarter version, have been sorted out. Merlin, like you don't know about it, so like it started off as a Kickstarter printer.
Yeah, that's what Jordan's saying. He got it off of Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's made from people that used to work at DJI, the drone people.
Oh, wild.
So it's got that kind of same similar aesthetic, like that gray plastic materials and metal materials here and there, and just really cool, clean design. I think I love the DJI. I don't have any, but I just love every time I see one. I mean, somebody lets me hold their drone. I'm like, well, can I keep it? But yeah, we'll see what happens with that printer. But everything that I read has been pretty awesome.
He said firmware updates made a huge difference.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I think after so many printers, you kind of know what in the reviews to ignore. Like JP is the one that I've been talking about it with the most, and he's like, "Dude, everyone on the Discord is pissed off about it, but they just don't know how to handle like the firmware or the software," and that's really what it is. It's just firmware and software problems, which always gets sorted out. After you've bought enough of these, like that either that same company will do a software, or somebody will do the equivalent of like jailbreaking it, and they'll have their own firmware, custom firmware that you can add, so that just completely overrides it. I don't think that's possible with the Bamboo yet. Like it wasn't possible with some of the printers that I got, but it eventually was. Because once the aftermarket sees that it's a popular one, they just, like anything, they just go crazy.
Apparently he left his in a box for a month.
Why? Like,
he
yeah, I got
says,
this nice printer.
send him an STL and he'll bang a print to give him a preview idea.
Nice.
Yeah. He's I am big awesome. Give him a follow and send him a thing.
Sweet. Yeah, let me know. I mean, I have if you go to my link in bio, like I post all my stuff. So all my stuff is on my printables. The only thing that I haven't released, obviously, is the big wide because we're still working out some of the kinks. And then the Nano Pano, which is the newest one, only because there's some parts on it that can't be 3D printed just yet. To have a complete camera. But everything else that I've made, for the most part, is on my printables page. So yeah, print out like a Ligero LG. Let me know how fast you can make it. That's like the world's most compact lomograph block body.
That's exciting.
But yeah, that one I think currently takes me about, for the body alone, maybe like about 12 hours. So it'd be interesting to see how fast it can run on the bamboo.
That's very exciting. I still don't.
Yeah,
have
when
a
are you
3D
getting yours?
Oh fuck! I don't have a 3D printer, and like, you know.
Yeah, no, I said when are you getting one?
I don't know. I feel almost like too old to get one. Like, you know, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big problems that there is right now. That's really why I want to get into what I want to get into next year, is just taking like a shift from making and more like teaching. Like I'll still make like one-off stuff here and there because I want to go crazy with like super out of this world type cameras. But yeah, I do find that there's a need to just spell it all out for people. Like there are lots of videos that you can find, but I don't think there's anywhere that just really specifically, like in one place, tells you like, go with this printer, go with that printer. Like I think people don't want to do that. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Like I'm gonna give a list of like all the printers that I have and everything that I've done to them, and kind of let people decide. Because then when you go on YouTube and you try to find out like what's the best printer for whatever, like nobody ever wants to actually commit to specific printers. You know, I think, which kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So people still have to be left to buying one and then tinkering with it and trying to figure it out, and then going back to YouTube, looking up that specific printer once you decided on it, and then you find out either what's wrong with it or what it needs to kind of get to kind of quality that you want. So hopefully if I do a good enough job and put together a good enough guide with like files and settings and everything to make it as easy as like cooking off a recipe, hopefully, you know, just buy the pots and pans and the sous vide machine and I'll show you the rest. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I do think in this day and age, though, they're starting to get like that bamboo. It's pretty pricey, but I think that as a game changer, it's going to start leading to more and more printers like that. That one you actually can just now with the firmware upgrades, just plug it in and then start printing. And you don't even know jack shit. Like you just download the file, pop it in the card, and like a microwave, ding, it'll be done in
Bing.
5 minutes. Yeah, not 5 minutes, but relatively, because that's supposed to be its thing. It's supposed to be like super fast, versus the homemade printers. Because obviously there's crazy people out there that make their own printers, like this brand called the Boron, which is a whole other world of crazy. You know, once you start digging deep into the so that is a printer that is pretty much community based. Like you can't buy a made one. Like the community decided to just come together and research, and as a hive mind whip up like the best parts and plans and schematics and testing and all that. And then it ended up evolving into, now there's people, and then there was people that would just put the kits together, and then those became small companies that now just put kits together. And I don't think anybody yet will build one and sell one to you unless you ask them like personally.
Okay.
But it's just a completely like DIY printer. But it's supposed to be like, if you did buy a super good race car, if I had to give an analogy, like that's what it is, except you have to build it in your garage, you know, to get there. But it's got turbo. It's got the best suspension. It's got the best wheels and all that kind of stuff. But absent of that, though, this printer, the Bamboo, I think it's one that's come out that's really it's going to push people to either lower their price points or at least encourage people to make similar machines to that people could just plop on their desk and start printing and get good quality. Because honestly, there are printers that could do that already, but that's the kind of beef that I have with the industry right now, is that like the bar for quality is super low. So most people, I'll look at videos where somebody like a well-known YouTuber will print something off of their brand new printer, not the Bamboo, but other ones. They're like, "Oh my God, look at this! This print looks excellent," and then everybody's like, "Man, that's a good print," and I'm looking at it like, "Shit, guys! Like, really? Like I could see like stuff on there that shouldn't really be there." But it takes a lot of work to kind of get a printer to print really well. So most people kind of aren't aware of that, I think, of what exactly a printer can do.
He had one last question for you. Are you running Clipper? Have you seen the Creality Clipper deck?
No, I'm not running Clipper yet. That Bamboo has Clipper on board. I think with Clipper, correct me if I'm wrong, but you need a Raspberry Pi, and those have been hard to get. So I haven't really gone through that yet.
You don't have a Raspberry Pi?
I don't.
Well, fuck, I'll send you one.
I've got tons of them. Like Raspberry Pi.
I've got like 2 of them somewhere. I don't do anything.
You don't use them at all?
Not really.
Yeah, I think that they use that to kind of run a lot of
Jordan
powers it.
Jordan will send you one. He's got a 4B. So you two should become friends, follow each other, and become pals.
Yeah.
And
drop me a DM.
Yeah, slide into his DMs there.
And then once I have Clipper, I'll be like, my precious.
Yeah.
Because apparently the Clipper crowd really loves the Clipper. Yeah. I'm interested to see, because I saw a video that Clipperized this little one, this King Room. That thing was super fast. Wow, I gotta do that. I mean, the struggle is always that, like, I've been releasing cameras, so it's kind of hard to dedicate to that part of it. I have to wait in between, like, okay, I'm done with this run, which I'm kind of waiting on. Like, once I'm done with like the nano panel runs that I'm doing before the holidays.
He says that he's doing 0 work and that you have to send him a DM. I mean, if he's going to send you a Raspberry Pi, the least you could do is slide into his DMs there.
Kind of hard to get.
Yeah. I mean, he does that. Jordan plays hard to get. Yeah. But he puts out.
All right. I'm like, hey, so what's your Raspberry Pi doing?
Also,
what's it wearing?
He's a great cook. He made ribs at my house.
Dude, are you trying to like make a romantic connection here or what?
No, it's just a story where, like, my butthole lit on fire. We used to like have these like we used to do these like dinner nights at each other's houses, and we hosted a rib night at my house one time, and he did all the cooking, and he called it rib roulette. And I think he bought like, I don't know, 10 racks of ribs or something like that. It was a lot of fucking ribs. And he did, or no, fuck. It wasn't, maybe it was 15. Yeah, because it was 5 regular racks of ribs, 5 ghost pepper racks of ribs, and 5 Carolina Reaper ribs, like racks. And then he cut them all up into like just little like the bones, and then mixed them all together. And that's rib roulette, because you don't know what you're gonna fucking get. They were delicious ribs.
That sounds heavenly,
dude. It was like,
I love ribs.
They were so spicy. It was just like, it was so meat. And then like, it was a lot of ribs, and there was only like 6 of us. So there was a lot of leftovers, and because I hosted, he left them with me, and so he made these Ziploc baggies that had 5 or 6 ribs in each Ziploc baggie. And I got home from a business trip at midnight, fly home and get to the house, and I just want to eat some food quick and pass out. So I just fucking grab one of these baggies, throw them on a plate, heat it up. Every fucking one of them was either a Reaper or Carolina one. Everyone was spicy. And I was like, God damn it. I'm kind of cursing him, just I'm going to eat this shit and just go to bed. And then.
But you keep going damn you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's oh, fuck, another hot one. And I'm like, oh, but they're so tasty, but fuck you. And I go to bed, and then I shoot up, fucking sweating and panicked at 3 a.m. And I'm like, oh no. And run to the washroom, and it's the fucking crying game. And yeah, it was just vicious. And I'm texting him, and I'm like, fuck you and your ribs, man. I'm destroyed. Yeah, I'm crying from both ends. This sucks. You're the worst friend ever. And he's like, but those ribs though.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, just DM him. He'll send you Raspberry Pi.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun chatting with you, man. On that shitty
Likewise.
note, I think we'll wrap it up here. Do you have any final comments for the people?
No, buy a 3D printer.
Buy a 3D printer.
Or yes, buy a 3D printer.
Do you want to make a quick plug? I'll put the Price is Right music on, and you can do a quick plug.
Buy one of these super cool 3D printers and change your life dramatically by making hundreds of dollars worth of photo gear at home that will melt in the car. So use carbon fiber materials.
There you go. Take it from Mario, the expert of 3D printing. He is a graduate of the Cameradactyl School of Camera Printing and 3D stuff. Cowabunga!
Yeah, buy a printer.
Yeah, buy a printer, fuckers. Mario, thank you for hanging out with me. And thank you everyone for tuning in and hanging out with us as we rambled through all sorts of shit and kind of talked about some camera stuff. And, Kevin Hart is Danny DeVito. I think that could work in a lot of things.
Yeah, it did feel like we were light on the camera stuff and big on the reimagined and recreated 80s and 90s movies, but it's all good.
Yeah, I bet you some asshole executive is going to find this chat and steal all of these ideas. And
I know. It's this is what the people want.
We're going to trademark it right now.
You're going to get Dave Bautista. You're going to get Dave Bautista as Kindergarten Cop. So
it's not
that's the silver lining in all this.
Only if he wears those big glasses that he's done in a couple of other movies, those big pervy glasses. That would be the best. And just he's way more ripped than Schwarzenegger has ever been. So that would be hilarious as Kindergarten Cop too, because he'd just be in that button up shirt and he's like a hulked out Peter Griffin. Yeah. He's gonna find me and beat me up now. Yeah.
I mean, Chris, at least he'll share some royalties with you.
Sorry, I gotta do one more here. Step right up, Chris Cohen. Thank you for joining right at the end of Photo Chat. We're just wrapping up right now, but if you came in earlier, you could have enjoyed the show a little bit more. Too bad you have shitty internet in the rural area that you live in. I miss you lots, and I wish you weren't as scared of COVID so that you could come down and visit me in Vancouver. Get your ass down here and come to fucking Denton next year because you got your passport, and I'm proud of you. I love you very much. Chris is one of my best friends. And he was supposed to come to Denton this year. He finally got his fucking passport, but then he didn't. So, yeah. Next week, I'm going to have Juan Martinez on, who is So No Showcase Showdown. I don't remember that. You're late, so that's all you get. Yeah. If you weren't late, we could have done whatever that. Maybe next week.
That we gave away a couple of Leicas. You know,
we did.
And you missed that. You totally missed that.
Actually, shit. That reminds. So I'm going to be giving away a Cameradactyl Polaroid scanner. The The thingy.
The mongoose. The
Not the
thing?
mongoose. He didn't give me one of those,
No,
but like
thing.
the Newton ring preventer thingy that he did with Brooklyn Film Camera. As much as I want to put my own sticker over the Brooklyn Film Camera one, I'm not. But you know, it's I gotta let go of that rivalry at some point. It's not even a rivalry. I just don't like Kyle. But you know, I don't know Kyle. I just don't like that I got ripped off once. Anyways,
maybe we'll make amends at PolaCon NYC.
Maybe if I make it there,
Maybe.
I might be in London at that time. I'm if I'm not in London, I'll go to New York.
I'm planning for a pretty bitchin' big wide, styled in the style of a New York building.
Damn.
So, yeah, picture a skyscraper camera with a lens at the top. I'm gonna try it. I'm not guaranteeing it, but that's the kind of thing that I want to get into.
Would it be in poor taste to do like a dual lens big wide?
Yes, that would be in poor taste.
Is it too? Is that
horrible,
too?
Horrible.
Sorry,
damn you Canadians. We'll never forget.
I mean, I saw some of those posters in Texas, and never forget. But yeah, next week I am going to have Juan Martinez, the founder of Beers and Cameras, on here. So
nice.
Yeah, join us next week for that. And one day I'll make good with Kyle. I'll see. I'll invite him on the chat and see if he wants to
BNC hat.
Yeah, BNC.
BNC.
I had a BNC sticker on my fridge. So
yeah.
Kyle, if anyone that knows Kyle ends up hearing this, slide into my DMs if you want to do an episode. You know, I like to exercise these demons. So thank you again, Mario. And everyone who tuned in. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week. All right. Love you guys.
Cheers, everyone. Peace.
All right. Bye.
Bye.